So there is some pushback from some Germans who are like, no, we're not going to engage in this bigotry and Russophobia, right? So there's some
of course
Germans. Okay.
Well, we have about 6 million Russian Germans in Germany, so a huge part of Germans knows what is going on. They are reading Russian news and so on. They have relatives in Russia. They know the truth, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this must be incredibly stressful, because you were planning to go to the country for the time it took you to do the story, I assume. So now you're looking at this limbo state. So what are your next steps and for yourself? Are you just going to continue to report from Donbass and, stay the course and try to fight legally, or what are your next steps?
Yes, I'm not going back to Germany. And stay here in Donbass. Sometimes I'm in Russia and keep on working.
Keep on working. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, in the West, as you know, we don't get a lot of reporting, which is why I follow you and Patrick Lancaster and, Ava Bartlett. And they both have faced threats, death threats. Ava Bartlett, as you know, is on a kill list with the Ukrainian military.
Me
are
too.
You deal with any of that, or are you relatively safe? How are you doing with that?
Already last year in November, Ukrainian authorities also put me on this kill list. So practically everybody who's coming here is going on this list. There's even a 13-year-old girl from Lugansk, Faina is her name. She's writing books already about her life in a war zone, actually. Very smart young girl, and she's also on this kill list now. It's unbelievable.
How horrible. And, it must be stunning for you then to see the United States giving $57 billion in weapons to Ukraine to fight this proxy war against Russia, and NATO countries, included.
I can't understand this point, because I know this is war, but this war here in Donbass began not 5 months ago, but 8 years ago. And since 8 years, this was the moment that shocked me when I came here the first time. I went to it's called the gray zone between Donbass and Ukraine. And this is where, the soldiers, you can say, are shooting every day on each other for 8 years. And in this gray zone, there are civilians living. And what I didn't know, and I thought this conflict is between soldiers from both, killing each other. But in fact, what is going on here is that for 8 years, the Ukrainian soldiers are killing civilians in this gray zone. So I met lots of people without legs, without arms, with other, I don't know what happened to them. Every house was somehow shot or partly broken down, because the Ukrainians shot on these people or on the houses. It's so shocking.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
And go on with that. What are some of the main myths that you're trying to dispel that the Western media, the corporate media, is pushing? Could you talk about what's really happening? You mentioned for 8 years they've been terrorizing the civilian population, their own, the Ukrainian military. What don't we know in the West that you'd like to get across about what's happening right now?
Yeah, that for 8 years, Ukrainian soldiers are terrorizing civilians in the Donbass region, because for them, the people here are not humans. They even are saying this. If you would speak Russian, you find lots of videos from Ukrainians in the internet where they are saying this is not humans. We have to kill them. They even camps for children, where they are shouting those paroles like we have to kill all Muscovite is the word for it, Muscovites. so all Russians, this is not humans, and so on. So they, for 8 years, they, how to say it? I don't know the word for it, but there are even camps for children where they teach this stuff. And there are lots of radical groups like Azov or the right sector and so on that are integrated in the Ukrainian army officially. And those people, for them, those are really Nazis, but not against Jews. In this case, they are against Russians. So they really want to kill all Russians, and this is why they. By the way, in 2014, when the Ukrainian government started this attack, it was a Ukrainian president sending the Ukrainian army to attack the civilians in Donbass. The president himself gave this directive, yes. And the army came here, and they didn't really want to fight. There are lots of videos still there in the internet showing where the tanks were coming, and they didn't really want to kill their own people, right? And that's why the president sent this radical groups like Azov and the right sector, and they mainly they are killing the civilians now here in Donbass. Have been killing for the past 8 years, and they are still going on with this. And now they even have this NATO weapons they can use, and they can now not only kill civilians on the border, but here also in the city center of Donetsk. So what I have been through the last month is not funny at all. They are shooting about almost every day with this NATO weapons. There's no safe place left in Donetsk, even in the city center where it has been safe in the last years. There's really no safe place left, and every day civilians are dying, and this is horrible because there's so much. There are lots of channels on Telegram, for example, where bloggers from Donetsk publish those videos where, I don't know, of short schools. They are especially shooting on hospitals, on schools, kindergartens, and the fire station a few weeks ago, or the main streets with cafes and so on. They really do it on purpose because they know the geo data, right?
So oh my God. Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
No problem. It's okay.
I was just going to ask, so how do you deal with that on a daily basis when you walk out the door to go to a cafe or to go to the grocery store? Are you dealing with safety issues every single day as a result of this?
Well, they're not shooting every minute, so you just wait until they are not shooting anymore for about an hour, and then you go. Most of the time they're shooting for an hour, and then a few hours not, and then they start again. So this is how we live here. And it happens that you're in a restaurant sitting outside on the terrace, nice weather, eating some ice cream, and then they're starting to shoot, and you're just listening to this. It started there. Now you hear this meow over your head, and you listen. How far is it coming down? Is it closer or not, or far away? And then you go.
And for our audience, because when we think of military, we're visualizing a battlefield, actually. But what you're describing are civilians trying to go about their daily life and being basically on a front line. So that the soldiers are they targeting civilians as well as the soldiers, or just are civilians collateral damage in this case?
No, they kill civilians on purpose because most of the men are at the front. So in the city center, we are still there.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? You're doing fine.
Hello.
We can see you. Hello. We can see you and hear you. It looks like Alina's having. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
You were here the whole time. We could hear you, but apparently you couldn't hear us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So my question was regarding civilians being targeted.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the men are at the front right now. So in the city center, we only have women, kids, and older people. And well, about 2 weeks ago, we had the case that politically active, well, not children anymore. What is the name for it? Well, young people who were politically active. They had a big meeting. Well, young girls and young girls and boys who are actively, I don't know, supporting some ecology projects or projects to help kids or so on. No, they met up, about 20 of them, and the Ukrainians on purpose shot on this building where they met.
Oh.
So, and they killed lots of this young people. So, and this is not a single case. It's horrible what is going on here, and it's for me it's unbelievable that the West still is going on with delivering these weapons to the Ukrainian army because they are killing civilians here. I can't understand it.
Is any human rights organization at all looking into this, the civilian casualties? Is anyone stepping up? Or is the West just simply, basically lying to everyone and just funding this proxy war? I
can only say that we had here in the city the OECD, OSCE, for the last 8 years, and they left in the beginning of the special operation, and there were lots of what is it? Well, it came out that the OBCE published data, especially geodata, gave geodata to the Ukrainians about positions, where the positions of the Donetsk or Lugansk army was, and so on, were.
So they were talking.
So they practically acted like agents. They found out where the positions are and gave this data to the Ukrainians. So they were supporting the Ukrainian side.
So they're colluding with Ukraine to go after civilians. That's what it sounds like.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.